Alright, let me hit you with a question that might just blow your socks off. What if I told you there's a 1979 Lincoln penny out there with no mint mark that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million? Yep. A single cent that could pay off your mortgage, buy you a sports car, and still leave enough for you to take your grandkids to Disney World for a whole month. Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle in, my friend, because today we're diving into the wild, wonderful world of coins, and we're talking about one that could change your life if it's sitting in your change jar right now, before you go flipping your couch cushions or raiding that coffee can on top of the fridge. Stick around. I'm gonna break down exactly what makes this little copper treasure so valuable, how you can tell if you've got one, and yes, I've got a personal story that'll have you laughing and maybe crying just a little. So let's get into it. First, let's clear something up. A no mint mark penny means it was minted in Philadelphia. Back in '79, Philly didn't bother stamping a little letter on the coins, so no mint mark was just business as usual. But here's the twist, not every no mint mark penny is valuable. In fact, most of them worth exactly 1 cent. Maybe 2 if you're lucky and someone's feeling generous. So what makes this particular one so insanely valuable? This one has what collectors call a super rare error. We're talking about a very specific die variety, possibly a misstrike or double die, depending on the specific coin. The details get a little nerdy, but just know this, only a couple of these rare versions have ever been confirmed. That's why collectors are willing to throw around 7 figures to snag one. It's like winning the coin lottery, but the ticket costs just 1 cent. Now let me tell ya, coin collectors get excited about stuff most people wouldn't even notice. Slight doubling on a letter? Woohoo! An off-center strike? Jackpot! A penny with Abraham Lincoln sneezing? Okay, that one doesn't exist, but I'd definitely pay to see it. Point is, the tiniest things can turn a regular old penny into a gold mine. Strong, sharp details, especially around Lincoln's hair, coat, and the lettering, and finally, get it checked by a professional. Seriously. If it looks weird or feels off in a good way, don't take it to your local gas station. Get a certified grading service to give it the once-over. Alright, let me hit you with a personal story here. A few years back, I was helping my aunt clean out her garage. You know, one of those, I'll be there for an hour deals that turned into an all-day adventure in cobwebs and questionable Tupperware. Anyway, we found this old tin of coins. She was about to chuck the whole thing in a donation box, but I said, hold up, let's at least see if there's anything interesting. I spent the next 4 hours squinting through a magnifying glass, covered in dust, while my aunt laughed at me from the porch. Didn't find a $1 million penny that day, but I did find a 1943 steel cent worth about $40. And more importantly, I got the collecting bug. That one little win had me hooked, and now here I am, making videos about pennies worth more than Lamborghinis. Life's weird like that. You're probably wondering, who's shelling out $1.4 million for a penny? It's all about rarity, condition, and demand. When something is nearly impossible to find, and people really want it, the price skyrockets. This specific 1979 no mint mark penny has everything collectors dream of. Top-tier condition, extreme rarity, and a bit of mystery. It's been verified, authenticated, and has sold in private auctions for over $1 million. Not bad for something you might find in your change tray. Even if you're not a collector, here's why this matters. You probably have hundreds of pennies lying around right now. In jars, in drawers, under the car seat. One of those could be your golden ticket. And checking for rare coins isn't just a fun hobby, it could actually pay off big time. Plus, there's something satisfying about finding hidden treasure that's been in your hands all along. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're now officially part of the coin hunting club. Whether you're just curious or already knee-deep in your couch cushions, here's the bottom line: the 1979 no mint mark Lincoln penny could be worth $1.4 million. It's rare, it's real, and it could be sitting in your house right now. Grab a magnifying glass, start checking your change, and who knows, you might be the next lucky person to cash in on a coin worth more than a mansion. And hey, if you find one, don't forget who told you about it. Now before you go off hunting for copper gold, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips, stories, and money-making coin strategies coming your way. Whether you're a beginner or a full-blown coin nerd like me, there's always something new to discover. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Go check those pennies, and I'll see you in the next video. So, I've got a real gem for you today, literally. I'm talking about a coin that's probably sitting in your pocket right now, or maybe buried deep down in a drawer somewhere, collecting dust. And guess what? It could be worth a whopping $1.5 million. Yes, you heard me right. This isn't some ancient artifact or a rare gold coin, it's a 1968 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds too good to be true, right? But stick with me, because I'm about to blow your mind and show you how this seemingly ordinary penny can be the golden ticket you never knew you had. But before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, so you don't miss out on more tips about coins worth money. Trust me, this is the kind of stuff you'll want to know about when you're sifting through old change at the bottom of your car seats. Now, let's talk about the 1968 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. At first glance, it probably looks just like any other penny, nothing special, right? After all, the Lincoln penny has been around for decades, and millions were minted in 1968. So how does a coin like this suddenly get a price tag of $1.5 million? Well, here's the deal. In 1968, the US Mint made a major shift. For the first time, they stopped putting mint marks on most of the coins. What does that mean? Well, normally, pennies, dimes, quarters, and other coins have a little D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, indicating where they were made. But in 1968, for reasons no one really fully understood at the time, they skipped putting the mint mark on the penny. Most people thought it was just a regular mistake, but it turns out, that error made these particular pennies incredibly rare. You see, out of the billions of pennies made that year, only a handful of them were minted without any mark. And that tiny mistake, my friends, is what makes these 1968 no-mint mark pennies so valuable today. The scarcity is what gives it the price tag, and as collectors chase after these rare coins, the value just keeps climbing. Okay, but how do I know if I have one of these precious pennies in my collection? That's a good question. The key thing to look for is the absence of the mint mark. If you pull out a 1968 penny and you don't see a little D or S under the date, then congratulations, my friend, you've got a potential goldmine on your hands. But there's more to it than just finding a penny without a mint mark. The coin's condition plays a huge role in determining its value. If your 1968 penny is in pristine, uncirculated condition, meaning it looks as shiny and new as the day it was minted, you're looking at an even higher price. Coins that are in mint condition can fetch significantly more than those that are worn or damaged. Here's a fun story for you. A while back, I was going through some old change at a yard sale. Probably not the first place you'd think to find a $1.5 million coin, right? But, trust me, it's happened before. Anyway, there I was, sorting through a pile of pennies when I found a 1968 penny that looked pretty clean. I was about to toss it into the nothing special pile, but something made me stop. I looked at it again and noticed no mint mark. So, I did what any good coin hunter would do, I did a little research. Turns out, I had found a 1968 no-mint mark penny. Now, don't get too excited, I didn't find a $1.5 million coin that day, but I did find a few pennies worth way more than I thought. That day taught me the importance of being thorough and checking every coin, no matter how insignificant it may seem. You never know when you'll find a treasure, but back to the 1968 penny. The thing is, these coins are still floating around out there. If you've got one in your change jar or coin collection, take a closer look. There are no guarantees, of course, but if it's in great shape, it could be worth far more than a penny. In fact, there have been reports of these coins selling at auction for upwards of $1.5 million. Yes, millions, And not in some crazy fantasy world, but right here in our coin collecting community. So, you might be asking, why hasn't everyone discovered this by now? Well, the simple truth is, not many people are paying attention to these small details. Coin collecting, especially rare coins like this, is still a bit of a niche hobby. But as more collectors get savvy, these pennies are becoming harder and harder to find. So, if you've got one in your collection, now might be a great time to get it appraised. Even if your 1968 no mint mark penny isn't in perfect shape, it could still hold value. A worn or circulated example of the coin might not be worth $1.5 million, but it can still fetch a nice price, especially if it's been well preserved over the years. Your 1968 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could very well be sitting on a small fortune. I'm not saying you're guaranteed to get rich, but when it comes to coin collecting, you just never know. The next time you're going through your spare change, keep your eyes peeled for this little nugget. It could be your ticket to a nice payday. Before you go, here's the deal: if you're enjoying these tips on how to find coins worth serious money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You'll get the latest updates, insider tips, and more personal stories about rare coins, strategies, and how you can turn your coin collection into a money-making machine. Plus, you'll join a community of collectors who are just as passionate as you are. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep hunting for those treasures. You might be holding on to the next big thing without even knowing it. Alright fellas, hold on to your hats and check your pockets, because today we're diving into one little coin that could make you a millionaire. That's right, one single penny. The kind you might find stuck between your car seats or in a coffee can in your garage. We're talking about the 1969 Lincoln penny. And no, I'm not messing with you. One of these babies recently sold for a jaw-dropping $1.60 million. Yeah, a penny. The coin we toss aside, ignore, or use to scratch lottery tickets. Imagine cashing in on a single red copper cent for enough money to buy a dream house, a few classic cars, and still have room for a vacation home in the mountains. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, this one is very real. So grab a cold drink, sit back, and let me take you through the wild world of the 1969 Lincoln penny. We'll talk value, history, how to spot a valuable one, and I'll even share a little story about the time I almost threw away a small fortune. Yeah, it still haunts me. Let's rewind the clock back to 1969. Nixon was president, Woodstock was in full swing, and the Lincoln penny was just doing its thing, being minted by the millions. Specifically, over 4.1 billion pennies were minted that year. That's billion with a B. So what in the world makes one 1969 penny worth more than most folks' entire retirement accounts? And I mean tiny, easy-to-miss details. The most valuable 1969 pennies are rare error coins. They feature something called a double die obverse. Sounds fancy, huh? It just means the design on the front of the coin, Lincoln's face and the wording, looks like it was stamped twice but slightly off. It gives the letters and numbers a kind of shadowy, doubled look. Now, here's the kicker. The 1969 double die error is famous, but most of those were from the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't have a mint mark. That's the no mint mark 1969 penny that gets a lot of hype. But when you find a double die on a 1969 penny with a D mint mark, which stands for Denver, that's when you've struck gold. Or well, copper. But $1 million copper, the 1969 double die Lincoln penny is extremely rare. In fact, only a handful have ever been confirmed. That's what makes it so valuable. In a coin market flooded with common coins, rarity is king. Combine that with demand, historical value, and a little mystery, and suddenly you've got a penny worth $1.6 million. Let's talk about condition for a second. Coin collectors, or numismatists if you want to sound fancy at dinner parties, care a lot about a coin's grade. A top-grade 1969 double die penny, one in pristine condition with little to no wear, can fetch serious dough. That's what happened with the one that sold for $1.6 million. It was in incredible shape. If yours has seen better days, say, it went through the laundry a few times, it might still be worth something. just maybe not quite mansion money. Now, let me tell you a quick story that'll either make you laugh or cry. A few years back, I was helping my uncle clean out his basement. He had jars and jars of old coins. We're talking rusted Folgers cans packed full. At one point, I picked up a shiny 1969 penny and said, jokingly, maybe this one's worth $1 million. He laughed, I laughed, and we tossed it back in the jar. Fast forward to last year. I'm doing research on valuable coins, like the same stuff I'm sharing with you right now, and boom, there it was. A 1969 D penny with a double die obverse. Worth over $1 million. I nearly dropped my laptop. I called my uncle immediately and said, "Hey, remember that penny from your basement?" He said, "I think I used it to scrape bird poop off the deck railing." So yeah. Learn from our mistake. Don't underestimate the pennies. They might just be the most expensive coins you ever ignored. Now if you're wondering how to spot one of these rare beauties, here's what to look for. First, it needs that little D under the year, meaning it came from the Denver Mint. Second, look closely at the lettering, especially Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. If the letters and numbers look like they're doubled, you might just have something special. Use a magnifying glass or one of those little jeweler's loupes. Trust me, they're worth the $10. Or take a close-up photo and zoom in. If it looks odd, don't spend it. Don't toss it in a jar. Put it in a protective sleeve and take it to a coin shop for a professional look. Now let's talk market value. Right now, collectors are hungry for these rare coins. The last known sale of a verified 1969 D double die penny was for about $1.6 million. That was through a high-profile auction house. And because so few of these coins are confirmed, demand is through the roof. If one more pops up, it could very well break that record. What's wild is that you could walk into a gas station today, buy a candy bar, and get change back that includes one of these coins. It's still possible. That's what makes coin hunting so exciting. It's like treasure hunting, but without needing a metal detector or pirate ship. So, here's the deal. The next time you're about to drop your spare change in a tip jar, maybe give those pennies a second look. That dirty little copper coin might be your ticket to $1 million payday. It's happened before, and it can absolutely happen again. If you've got coin jars at home, start digging. If you're a garage sale junkie, keep your eyes peeled. And if you're just curious about what else could be hiding in plain sight in your pocket, well, you're in the right place. Now if you enjoyed this story and you want more tips on how to spot valuable coins, how to build your own collection, and how to turn spare change into serious money, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell so you never miss a new video. I've got more coin secrets, collector strategies, and crazy true stories coming your way every single week. And hey, if you find a 1969 D penny with that double die, maybe save me a coffee or something. Just saying. When was the last time you checked your couch cushions? No, really. Because that loose change you're ignoring could be hiding something wild. I'm talking about a penny, yes, a humble little copper-colored Abraham Lincoln penny from 1982, that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. That's right. $1.7 million for a coin that probably bought a piece of bubble gum back in the day. And no, I didn't make that up after watching too many late-night treasure hunting shows. This coin is real. It exists. And if you've got one sitting in your junk drawer, you might just be sitting on your retirement plan. I end this video, we're diving deep into the story behind the legendary 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. We'll break down what makes it so rare, how to spot one, why collectors are going bonkers over it, and I'll even tell you a personal story about how I almost threw away a coin that could have paid for a yacht. Yeah, that one stung. So buckle up, grab your coin jar, and get ready for a ride that might just end in you becoming a millionaire. From a penny. Let's kick it off with a little background. The year was 1982. The mullets were majestic, Michael Jackson was moonwalking, and the US Mint was in the middle of a coin crisis. You see, the cost of making pennies was going up, and Uncle Sam wasn't thrilled about spending more to make money than the money was actually worth. Go figure. So the mint made a decision that would go on to create one of the most sought-after errors in coin history. They switched the composition of pennies from 95% copper to a cheaper zinc core with a thin copper coating. But, and here's where it gets interesting, they didn't do it overnight. They made both copper and zinc pennies that year. And to make things even more fun, some coins didn't even get mint mark stamped on them. Now, usually, if a coin is made in Philadelphia, it doesn't get a mint mark. That's just how it goes. But something weird happened. A small batch of copper pennies with no mint mark slipped through the cracks during the transition. These are not your everyday, run-of-the-mill pocket change coins. These are the $1.7 million golden ticket kind of coins. Now, weigh your 1982 penny. If it weighs about 3.11 grams, congratulations, you've got a copper penny. If it's 2.5 grams, it's the zinc one. Still cool, but not yacht money cool. The one you're hoping for is a 1982 penny with no mint mark and a weight of 3.11 grams. That's the unicorn, but wait, there's more. You'll also want to take a look at the lettering. Some of these coins show signs of doubling. That's when the image or lettering on the coin looks slightly doubled due to a minting error. That can bump the value even more. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was helping my nephew with a school project on coins. We were going through this old coffee can of change my dad had tucked away in his garage since the 80s. Dusty, spiderwebs, smelled like regret. Anyway, I start pulling out the pennies, just casually checking the dates while he glued some nickels to a poster board. And boom! I spot a 1982 with no mint mark. Now, I didn't have a scale on me, so I did what any excited coin nerd would do. I licked my finger, flipped the coin a few times for dramatic effect, and yelled, "Jackpot." My nephew thought I'd lost it. I took it home, weighed it. 2.5 grams. Yep. Zinc that I still keep it though. It's my little reminder that treasure might literally be hiding in plain sight. Also, it keeps me humble. People have found the real deal. Collectors have paid up to $1.7 million for a verified 1982 no mint mark copper penny in top condition. That's life-changing money for something most people won't even bend over to pick up anymore. And why are collectors going nuts for this coin? Rarity. It's the classic supply and demand equation. Very few were made, even fewer survived, and now that everyone knows about it, the hunt is on. Also, condition matters. A coin with scratches, gunk, or bite marks from a toddler won't fetch millions. But one in pristine shape? That's the ticket. Don't clean your coins. Ever. I know. You want it to look pretty. But collectors want the original patina. Scrubbing it with soap and a toothbrush can actually lower the value. Think of it like vintage jeans, the grungier, the better. Get it authenticated. Don't just list it on some online marketplace and hope for the best. Send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine it, confirm what it is, and give it an official grade. That grade can make or break the price you'll get then. Get ready to talk to a lawyer and a financial advisor, because your life is about to change. So let's wrap this up. The 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny is not just a coin. It's a legend. A tiny, copper-colored lottery ticket that might be hiding in your sock drawer right now. It's a reminder that sometimes, fortune doesn't knock, it jingles in your pocket. You don't have to be a professional collector or a coin nerd to get in on this. All you need is curiosity, a sharp eye, and maybe a kitchen scale. And hey, even if you don't find the $1.7 million penny, digging through your change is still fun. You might stumble across other valuable coins, or at the very least, enough spare change to buy yourself a taco. And tacos are never a bad consolation prize. If you enjoyed this, learned something new, or just had a good laugh at my almost $1 million miss, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton more videos lined up on rare coins, hidden treasures, and strategies to turn your pocket change into serious cash. Alright folks, grab a cup of coffee, put your feet up, and let me hit you with a truth bomb that might just change the way you look at pocket change forever. What if I told you that a single 1988 Lincoln penny, yes, that coppery little coin most of us ignore, could be worth $1.8 million today? No, this ain't clickbait. This is real. 1.8 million bucks, from a coin most people toss into a jar or lose in the couch cushions. Now before you go diving headfirst into your coin jar like a maniac, let me tell you the full story. Because this isn't just about luck, it's about knowing what to look for, where to find it, and how to spot that hidden treasure that could be lurking right under your nose. So buckle up, my fellow penny hoarders, because we're about to take a ride through coin collecting gold, or in this case, copper. Let me start this off with a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my buddy clean out his grandfather's attic. You know, one of those dusty spaces filled with old magazines, World War II memorabilia, and boxes of random stuff nobody's touched in decades. I was poking around while he was sorting vinyl records, and I found this little tin box. I open it up, and boom, a whole pile of old pennies. And I'm not talking a handful. I'm talking hundreds. Now most people would look at that and go, cool. Scrap metal. But not me. I'm the kind of guy who gets excited about wheatbacks and double dies. So I start sorting through them, just to see if there's anything interesting. And sure enough, I find a 1988 penny with no mint mark and something weird about the design. I didn't think much of it at the time, tossed it in my pocket, and moved on. Fast forward a few weeks later, I take it to a local coin guy. He takes one look at it and says, "You might want to sit down." Now, spoiler alert, mine wasn't the one, but it was close enough to make me a believer. Which, by the way, is why there's no mint mark. The Philly Mint didn't stamp a letter on their coins back then. But here's the kicker, some 1988 pennies came out with the reverse design that actually belonged to the 1989 Lincoln cent. Yup. It's what collectors call a transitional error. Basically, the mint goofed up and used the wrong die when striking some of the 1988 pennies. You see, in 1988, the design of the FG, the initials of designer Frank Gasparo, which sit just to the right of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, looked a certain way. But the 1989 version had a slightly different FG. So if your 1988 penny has the 1989 FG design, guess what? You've struck copper gold. Well, it all comes down to rarity and condition. These transitional error coins are insanely scarce. We're talking only a few known examples floating around in the world. Combine that with one in pristine condition, we're talking graded at mint state 67 or higher, and collectors will throw down serious cash. Not just serious cash. Life-changing cash. There's always some rich collector out there who just has to have that one missing piece. And when a coin like this shows up at auction, the bidding war gets real. Last known sale? A crisp 1988 no mint mark transitional error penny sold for a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. That's not a typo. One coin. 1.8 million. Try buying that at face value. So now you're probably thinking, okay, how do I know if my 1988 penny is the jackpot one? Flip it over and check out the FG initials next to the Lincoln Memorial. If they look more like the 1989 version, with thinner, more delicate engraving, you might be sitting on a treasure. Condition matters. If it looks like it's been through a garbage disposal, well, don't expect $1 million payday. But if it looks shiny, minimal scratches, still got that minty freshness, get it checked by a professional grader, and let me just say, don't go cleaning your coins. Seriously. Every time someone takes a toothbrush or baking soda to a coin, a numismatist dies a little inside. Leave it as is. Even if it's grimy. Even if your penny isn't the $1.8 million coin, some 1988 pennies with rare die varieties or in top condition can still sell for a few hundred to a few $1,000s. That's still a heck of a return on a 1-cent investment. So whether you're a seasoned coin hunter or just someone who keeps dropping change in the bottom of your truck's cup holder, it pays, literally, to keep your eyes open. And here's a tip from someone who's learned the hard way: never underestimate grandma's coin jar. Next time you're visiting family, just say you're being helpful and offer to sort their spare change. You never know when the money for your dream vacation, or a new car, or heck, early retirement, might be hiding in plain sight. So there you have it. The unassuming 1988 Lincoln penny could be your ticket to millionaire status. All because of a tiny design error and a little bit of minty magic. You don't need a metal detector or a treasure map. You just need a sharp eye, a little knowledge, and maybe a flashlight to dig through the couch cushions. Now, if you enjoyed this dive into the world of high-stakes pocket change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started. I've got plenty more coin stories, hidden gem tips, and strategies that'll make your coin jar feel like a treasure chest. So stick around, click that bell so you don't miss out, and drop a comment below if you've ever found something wild in your change. Who knows, your story might be featured next. Alright folks, I need you to stop what you're doing and check your pockets, your piggy banks, that junk drawer in the kitchen, even that old coffee can full of loose change. Because believe it or not, there's a little brown penny out there from 1986 with no mint mark that could be worth a whopping $1.9 million. Yep, you heard me right. $1.9 million. For a penny. Now I know what you're thinking. A penny? From the 80s? That's like saying your old Trapper Keeper is worth more than your house. But hang tight, because I'm about to tell you why this unassuming coin could be your ticket to early retirement, a shiny new truck, or at least finally paying off that student loan that's been haunting you since 1997. Let's roll it back to 1986. Reagan was president, mullets were fashionable, and people were jamming out to cassette tapes. Pennies were flying off the presses by the billions. But here's where it gets weird. Most of those 1986 pennies have a little letter under the date. That's the mint mark, showing where it was made. A D for Denver, an S for San Francisco. But a few sneaky ones slipped through the cracks with no mint mark at all. Now usually, a penny with no mint mark is from the Philadelphia Mint. Nothing special, right? Wrong. Because a very small number of these 1986 Lincoln pennies were struck with an ultra-rare error. These coins had crazy sharp details, perfect centering, and an unusual coppery red glow that set them apart. Add in the no mint mark and a couple other quirks we'll get into in a minute, and bam, suddenly you've got a penny that's worth almost $2 million today. It looks like every other penny. Same Honest Abe. Same color. Same size. It doesn't scream I'm a millionaire coin. It just quietly sits there, waiting to be noticed. Like the Clark Kent of coins, first, check the date. It has to be 1986. No mint mark below the date, just a clean, empty space. That's step 1. Second, look at the condition. The valuable ones are usually in pristine shape, what collectors call mint state or uncirculated. That means no scratches, no green gunk from living under your car seat for a decade, and definitely no bite marks from when you were bored in 6th grade, but even if yours isn't flawless, don't count it out just yet. There have been circulated 1986 no mint mark pennies that went for big money too. Why? Because of the details. Some of these rare pennies were struck using what's called a proof die, which gives them crisp features and a polished finish. Imagine giving a penny a makeover and a photo shoot. That's the level of detail we're talking about. Now let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was digging through an old coin jar at my grandma's house. I'm talking about one of those giant plastic jugs that once held cheese balls and now weighs as much as a small child. I sat there for hours, sorting through sticky nickels and dimes with mystery lint stuck to them. Just when I was about to give up and call it a day, I spotted a shiny 1986 penny. No mint mark. Clean as a whistle. My heart skipped a beat. I rushed it to a local coin shop like it was a lottery ticket. Now, spoiler alert, it wasn't the one. But the dealer told me it was still worth more than face value, and that I was on the right track. That one experience lit a fire under me. I've been hunting rare coins ever since, and I've learned that even the most boring-looking coin can hide a story worth millions. and speaking of millions, let's talk value. As of today, the 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in mint condition has been valued at $1.9 million in a private sale. $1.9 million. For a coin you might have in your sock drawer, collectors go bananas for these because they're so rare and mysterious. Some experts believe there may only be a handful in existence that meet the perfect storm of condition, strike quality, and that missing mint mark. It's like finding a unicorn in your lunch money. Even if yours isn't a top-tier specimen, some of these have still sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Not too shabby for a coin that people usually ignore or leave in tip jars. So what should you do if you think you've got one? First, do a little at-home inspection with a magnifying glass. Look at the date, the missing mint mark, the overall condition. Then take it to a reputable coin dealer or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you if you've got a true treasure on your hands or just a really good story for your next family BBQ. So there you have it. The 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a plain little copper coin that could be worth nearly $2 million. It's rare, it's mysterious, and it might be hiding in your change jar right now. Now here's the deal. Coin hunting isn't just about finding the million-dollar magic. It's about the thrill, the hunt, the stories you pick up along the way. It's about knowing that even the smallest, most ordinary things can hold unbelievable value. If you had fun with this video and want more coin tips, money-making strategies, and wild stories from the world of pocket change, then smash that subscribe button like you just found a $1 million penny. Don't forget to like the video and drop a comment if you've got a coin story of your own. Who knows, maybe your story will be the next one I tell.